if you will have a look to a code of various competitive programmer, you will find various wizard keywords like vectors, map, pair and many more. But believe me, they make our tasks very easier in the world of competitive programming, and vector is one of them. So without wasting much time, let's look what is a vector and how can it be used. Before starting with vectors, let us understand the difference between vector and an array. As you can see, I have declared a vector v as well as an array v of size 10. So what is the basic difference between these two? The bare minimum difference between these two is this array of size 10 is static, whereas this vector v is dynamic. What does that mean? It means that the size of this array of size 10 cannot be extended beyond 10, whereas size of this vector can be extended to any size you want. So let us look at how these vectors work internally. So for this, let me declare a vector of size 1 first. So this is a vector having size 1. If I insert one more element, its size becomes 2, which is natural in case of arrays too. But when I insert one more element, its size becomes 4. That is known as capacity actually. We are gonna look at. So the size of this vector is actually 3, but the capacity of vector is 4. So if I insert one more element, then its size doesn't grow. But if I insert one more element, that is 5, again its size becomes double. So basically what is happening here is that whenever the size of vectors is coming to an end, it doubles its size. So you don't need to handle this, vector handles this internally. So we'll start with the code first. I'll be using a Linux based terminal which is having G++ compiler of 7.5.0. You are free to choose any of the environment you like. Many environment are deep C++ you can use, or you can use VS Code with G++ compiler installed in your system. Okay, so let us start with creating a file first. We have created a file. So first and foremost, for using vector, we need to include vector in our program. The header file for vector is just vector. Let us include other standard input output files. stdio not include. Using namespace std here, then we can have a main function. Let us check first like these header files are successfully included in our program or not, and our environment is successfully set up or not. It's compiled successfully. Okay, so it's outputting hello. So okay, so we'll be starting with vectors now. So the basic minimum thing for declaring a vector are constructor. So various constructor of vector can be written as, first one can be written as this. Let me delete this. So I have declared a vector of type integer and its name is v. Basically we have declared a vector of type integer, so it can hold integer values. And next thing, when I see function pushback, the first function we are gonna see is pushback. What pushback does, it just push an element at the end of a vector, so we can just use it with a dot notation. So we push back 1. Then let us push back more elements to this vector. Let us push back 3, then push back 4. Okay, so we have these 4 elements in our vector right now. So let us verify that these elements are successfully pushed in our vector or not. Let us have a for loop. Vector size can be determined with dot notation with a function called as size. It returns the size in integer value. You can just access it like array with this square bracket in. So let us compile and run this again. Okay, you can see that we have these 4 elements right now in the vector. So basically this pushback function puts an element at the end of the array. So now let us bring in some other function which is known as popback. What popback does is it just removes the last element of a vector, so it will be removing this 4. Let us verify. As you can see, 1 2 3 4, that is from the first for loop, and 1 2 3, that is from the second. Let us see more function related to vectors. The next function we are gonna see is front. So this function basically returns the front element of a vector, that is the first element actually. So it might return 1, I guess. Yeah. So let's compile. You can see it's returning 1. So let me remove this for loop as of now. Yep. The next function is back, which basically returns the last element of a vector. As you can see, it will return 3, I guess. Yep, it is returning 3, and the front is returning 1. So we have seen these 4 functions. We will be seeing a great way to access elements of a container in C STL. It is basically a generalized term that is known as iterators, that is used to access various elements of a container. So let's look into it, how to declare a iterator. It's a great way, better than the previous way of accessing elements. Iterator is declared same as vectors. Just you need to put a colon, double colon, and use iterator keyword. Let's name it it. So it's a iterator of type vector int, so it can iterate basically a vector of type integer, and its name is it. So we have a function v.begin which just gives the address of the beginning of a vector. So basically iterator are just pointers, they just need address. So v.begin gives the first base address of a vector. So let us access the other elements of a vector as well. v.end provides the ending address of a vector. So it just provides a end address of a vector, and we can just do plus operator to a iterator. It just point to next address actually. So basically if it's pointing to a 1000, that is 1000 address, if we do it++, it will be pointing to 1004, that is 1004, if we consider the size of integer is 4. So let us see out it. As we told, it is a pointer, that so we can access the element of a pointer with a star notation. Let's run it and try out. As you can see, it is displaying the elements as 1, 2, 3. So it's a great way for accessing containers. Actually, Iterator is a generalized concept of C STL. As we have seen later, iterators can be used to access any of the containers. Later on, for maps, we'll be seeing iterator for maps. So it's a great way to access element. Now we will be seeing to other constructor of vector. We can also declare vector as v2, suppose 1 1 2 3, like this. So just initialize the element, and later on also you can put these elements. You can just initialize when declaring a vector, and of course you can modify this vector later on also. You can push back 20 sub 10 suppose, and the elements of the v2 will be 1 2 3 and 10. So it's a great way to like initialize and declare a vector. So the third way we can have is just pass on the other vector to this new vector, that is v3 is passed, parameter is v2, so v3 will be same as v2. It's just a copy constructor kind of thing. So we have seen many function as well, and there are many more function to discover, but like it's very hard to cover in one video. I'll be putting a link in the description for the resource where you can look up things and grab the function according to your need.